You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 141.2, our daily scoreboard for Tuesday's girls basketball games in Blackford, Delaware, Grant, Howard, Madison, Tipton, and northern Hamilton counties, with reports from games at Elwood, between Liberty Christian and Elwood, and Oak Hill Cass, with interviews with Alexandria head coach Mickey Hosier, Elwood head coach Courtney Lickliter and Panther star Breelyn Norris, and Yorktown head coach Leigh Ann Barga, and an interview with Rob Hunt, who covered the Pendleton Lapel doubleheader for the Herald-Bulletin.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Menkels.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report, we are blessed by your presence. Today is January 8th, 2025. It's a Wednesday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I am your host, Greg Menkels, and I love Central Indiana basketball. Coming to you today from Madison Grant High School, producer Susie is in the control room back at headquarters in Jeffersonville. Welcome to the girls basketball scoreboard. We have a good one for you. Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader joined me for the interviews. You will hear from Alexandria head coach Mickey Hosier, Elwood's Courtney Lickliter and Breelyn Norris, and Yorktown head coach Leigh Ann Barga. We've released 4 long segments today: our boys basketball week in review, our boys basketball scoreboard for Tuesday, including the first round games of the Madison County tournament, plus our girls basketball week in review with our weekly honors and our top 20 power poll. We start, as we always do, with Tuesday's local and regional scores. Then we'll have highlights from each game in Blackford, Delaware, Grant, Howard, Madison, Tipton, and northern Hamilton counties. Then Michelle and I are joined by Rob Hunt. He talked about Tuesday's boys and girls games in Madison County, so we added his interview to the end of both segments. Before we get to Tuesday's scores, please like, subscribe, or follow us at SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, or YouTube so you don't miss a single segment. Just search the Central Indiana Sports Report, and it should be easy to find. We start in the Madison County tournament. Alexandria is 17-0 after a 72-38 win over Anderson. The Tigers will face Pendleton Heights in Thursday's semifinal round after the Arabian 61-41 win over Lapel. Frankton and Elwood will square off in the other semifinal. Frankton beat Anderson Prep 65-24, and Elwood improved to 10-3 with a 47-22 win over Liberty Christian. In other games, Oak Hill beat Lewis Cass 40-38 at the buzzer for its 11th straight win. We will have a report coming up with Kevin Helfrich of the Action Sports Network on that one. Wapahani defeated Eastbrook 52-36, Mississinawa 41, Tipton 20, Delta beat Blackford 56-14, Yorktown got by Muncie Central 56-42, Western big win for the Panthers 64-56 over University, North Miami beat Hamilton Heights 43-37, Cowan 36, Eastern 34, second 2-point loss for the winless Comets this year, and Indiana Def beat winless West Dell 46-25. Richmond 62, Northmont, Ohio 46, West Lafayette beat Kankakee Valley 63-23, West Lafayette beat Frankfort 54-15, and Clinton Central got by rival Lebanon 45-40. In the first round of the Hendricks County tournament, Daleville beat Cascade 62-29, and Brownsburg beat Avon 80-44. And before we move on to our highlights, this is your daily reminder to please tell a friend about the Central Indiana Sports Report. I know you've been thinking of somebody who would love the Central Indiana Sports Report. Please copy and paste this episode to them. We are growing fast. We'd like to grow even faster. We can do that with your help. We started in the Madison County tournament with Elwood's 47-22 win over Liberty Christian. It's Elwood's 4th straight victory. It is their 10th win of the season, the first time they've done that in 8 years. One more win will be their best season since Mickey Hosier coached the Panthers in 2013-14. That team won 17 games. That's also the last time Elwood won a Madison County first-round game until Tuesday night. I spoke with Elwood head coach Courtney Lickliter after the game, and she was pretty happy with her team.
All right, Coach, 10 wins. That's quite an accomplishment for this program.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of the girls. You know, like I said to you earlier, you know, we've been taking it one game at a time, so sometimes it's kind of weird for me to like step back and think about it as a whole. But yeah, just really proud of all the effort and work that they've put in this season so far.
Coach, I mean, after the long break, were you a little nervous of what you might see, if there would be any rust or anything the first quarter?
Oh, I knew there would be. I mean, we talked about it because not only was it a weird 2-week break, but then we had yesterday where we weren't allowed to do anything. You know, we weren't even allowed to come in and practice. So I just had to tell the girls, you know, watch some more film, go over the game plan again like we talked about, and just be ready to go.
Now, Frankton, Thursday, talk about the challenge that presents.
Did Frankton win?
I don't know for sure. They were up 25.
Okay. You know, I just never know. You know, Olivia Peoples is a heck of a player. So
Yes, she is.
I just wasn't sure. You know, we'll try and get film on them, and it's a quick turnaround. But I mean, we're gonna try and do what we do well, and hopefully, you know, it'll be a game.
What were you impressed with? Because after the long layoff, what impressed you most about your team tonight?
I was impressed when we finally figured out how to score, that we kept doing it. We have a tendency sometimes to figure something out and then go away from it. And once we figured out how to get the ball in the middle, we just kept doing it. So I was really proud of them for that.
Elwood was led by 19 points from sophomore Breelyn Norris. She was one of 3 Panthers in double figures. Senior Kendra Salee had 13 points, and junior Kelsey Arms scored 10 in the win. Like we said earlier, Elwood will be at Frankton Thursday at 7:30 for the semifinals. I spoke with Breelyn Norris about her team's success so far this season and facing rival Frankton on Thursday.
You guys are having an historic season. Big first step in the tournament, right?
Yes, great first step. I'm very proud of our team this year.
10th win of the season as well. Coming into the season, I'm sure that's something you would have been happy with, right?
Yes, it's so exciting.
And now you play Frankton on Thursday night. Tell me what that challenge is like.
It'll definitely be challenging. I mean, they're a good team, and I believe it is at Frankton, so they have that home court advantage. That'll be a little difficult with the atmosphere.
But
we're going to come out and give it our best and hopefully get the win.
Liberty Christian falls to 1-3. The Lions were led by 8 points apiece from freshman Serenity Conyers and sophomore Heaven Watson. Watson's the only non-freshman on the Lions team. Freshman Kimora Hawkins added 4 points. Liberty faces 9-5 APA in Thursday's second round on the road. Frankton advanced with a 65-24 win over Anderson Prep. It was 16-9 at the end of the first. Then the Eagles outscored APA 25-8 in the second quarter. The win improves Frankton to 6-9 and ends a 3-game losing streak. The Eagles had 4 players in double figures and 6 players with at least 4 points. Senior Ann Curtis led Frankton with 15 points. Frankton head coach Jeff Bates said that was probably the best game she's ever played. Senior Emma Key finished with 13. Junior Macy Curtis had 12. And sophomore Layla Dietzer finished with 10. Frankton hosts 10-3 Elwood on Thursday. APA is now 9-5. Senior Olivia Peoples scored 16 of the Jets' 24 points. She was the only player on the team with more than 2 points. Anderson Prep hosts 1-3 Liberty Christian, who they beat earlier this year on Thursday in the consolation round, with a chance to get to 10 wins. On the other side of the bracket, Class 2A number 3 Alexandria improved to 17-0 with a 72-38 win at Anderson. Alexandria led 25-12 at the end of the first and 51-24 at the half. The 17-0 start is the best for the Tigers since they started the 2002-03 season 22-0. Senior Jack Hosier, the star of Alexandria, had 36 points, 8 assists, and 5 steals. Senior Kylan McFall added 12 points. She hit 3 3-pointers. Freshman Conley Davidson had 7. Senior Riley Kellums finished with 6. Alexandria has its biggest challenge of the season coming up on Thursday when they face 10-6 Pendleton Heights at Frankton Thursday at 7:30. I spoke with Alexandria head coach Mickey Hosier about the win and the challenge that Thursday will present. Coach, 17-0, that's got to sound pretty good.
Yeah, it's better than the alternative. So I thought we played well tonight.
Yeah, tell me what you did well and a nice win.
Yeah, just historically, I grew up in Alexandria, so going to Anderson and playing the Indians.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of heartbreak over there, and I know they're not, they're not having a great year, but I was just a little worried about the atmosphere and how our girls would react. But there was no fear, and we got after it and really pressured them, and I thought we played really well.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question. The consistency to be 17-0. You guys, your girls have really brought it pretty much every minute of every game.
Yeah, I think it's easy to say, whatever about who we've played or when we've played or what we've played. And I just know coaching, there's just so much up and down in your season. And so, just really proud of my team, not worried about our record or the outside stuff. It's just like coming in every day and trying to get better. And I know it's cliche, but it's like just one foot in front of the other, and this is who we play tonight, and we got to prepare for them, and we'll worry about the next game when it gets here. And so I think our seniors have led that way, and we've kind of stayed the course of the way that we've talked about our season and what we want to do. And so yeah, it's kind of cool.
We've had some really big wins of late, Charlestown, Richmond, and now this one, big win in the county tournament. The next one's probably the biggest one yet. Pendleton Heights is they're awfully good.
Yeah, no doubt this will be the best team that we've played this year, and the most talented team with two very high level players with Casey Warfel and Ada Hupfer, and just some really nice pieces around them with Olivia Jones and Emma Roberts, and then Casey's younger sister, the other Warfel. We just know it's going to be a tough one for us, and we're looking forward to it. We know what what one of our goals is trying to win the county, and we felt like it was probably going to be us and Pendleton in the semifinals, and they kind of got over the hump tonight. They've kind of struggled versus LaPel in the county, so they got over that hump, and we took care of our business, and so it should be a fun night Thursday night at Frankton.
Pendleton Heights won its fourth game in a row, 60-41 over LaPel at home. The Arabians led start to finish and are now 10-6. Sophomore Ada Hupfer led the way for the Arabians with 22 points and 11 rebounds. Senior Casey Warfel had 19 points and 5 assists. Pendleton hosts unbeaten and third-ranked Alexandria at 6 o'clock Thursday at Frankton. LaPel is now 11-5. They were led by junior star Lanaya Wills, who had 27 points and 12 rebounds. LaPel faces 1-15 Anderson Thursday at 6 at Anderson Prep. Now we move away from the Madison County tournament, where we had our most thrilling game of the night without question. Oak Hill beat Lewis Cass 40-38 for their 11th win in a row. Let's let the Action Sports Network's Kevin Helfrich tell you all about it. Kevin Helfrich of the Action Sports Network called a great one tonight. Oak Hill 40, Lewis Cass 38. How did it unfold, Kevin?
Well, as you would expect, these are two of the top defensive teams in the state of Indiana. Oak Hill comes in allowing just over 28 points a game, good enough for second in the state. And Lewis Cass gives up just 32 points a game, and that's good for top 20 in the state. So you knew there weren't going to be a lot of points. The points were going to come at a premium tonight. But This was a close game throughout. The largest lead of the night was 6 points, and that came in the game's first 4 minutes. Lewis Cass jumped out to an 8-2 lead. Oak Hill was able to tie it by the end of the first quarter at 10-all, and then Oak Hill took their first lead going into halftime. They took an 18-16 lead. Oak Hill only leads for 2.5 minutes the entire night. Lewis Cass was able to build a lead in the third quarter, but Oak Hill tied it up at 27-all as we headed into the fourth quarter. And Cass built a 35-30 lead with just over 3 minutes to go on the strength of free throws, as the Kings did not hit a field goal in the entire fourth quarter. But Oak Hill's Landry Hardman, the sophomore sensation, knocks down a big three-pointer to pull Oak Hill within 2. And then Liz Godfrey puts Oak Hill ahead 37-36 with just 47 seconds left on a 15-foot baseline jumper. But the Kings would go back in front on a pair of free throws from Afton Griffin, and she led the Kings tonight with 14 points to give them a 38-37 lead with 38 seconds to go. That's when Oak Hill called a timeout with just over 20 seconds to play. And as Coach would say, that she didn't really draw it up this way, but you get the ball into your playmakers' hands. And Landry Hardman, against that 2-3 zone defense of the Cass Kings, which they do not come out of, she was able to penetrate, draw the defenders, dished it down low to freshman Brianna Daly, who put it in and got fouled and converted a three-point play with just 11 seconds left. And Oak Hill took a 40-38 lead. They were able to hold Cass without the field goal there to a chance to tie it. And Oak Hill comes away with a thrilling 40-38 game-winning to extend their win streak to 11 games now.
11 in a row.
11 in a row for Oak Hill. They improved to 15-1. They were coming off their first Grant 4 title since 2018. This is a team that needed a close game. They haven't had many all year long. And I think this is just something, as you can see, Alexandria in the not-too-distant horizon. This may be a pivotal moment for Oak Hill. They were playing without one of their starters in Lydia Trexler, who was injured in the Grant 4 championship game. So, like I mentioned, Brianna Daly stepped up with extended minutes tonight off the bench. She scored 9 points, second leading scorer on the night. They were led by Hardman, who had 11, who had to sit out the entire second quarter with 2 fouls. But Oak Hill was able to hang in there despite her absence. And then they also got big play from Morgan Cates, who actually stepped in and started tonight in the absence of Trexler. She had 7 rebounds to go along with 5 points. And Oak Hill's Twin Towers down low ultimately ended up to kind of be the difference along with Hardman.
All right, Kevin, did you get to talk to Coach Barcombe after the game?
We did talk to Coach Barcombe after the game. She was obviously very pleased to come away with a win against a very good Lewis Cass team. We're talking about a Cass program that, went to the semi-state last year, finished 22-4. They have a lot of girls back from that team. They lost a couple of their bigs from last year, but this is a solid Lewis Cass team that falls to just 12-3 on the season. And this is probably a prelude to what we could see in the sectional. Lewis Cass hosts the sectional 38 this year, and there are 4 really good teams in that sectional. You got Oak Hill, Lewis Cass, Rochester, and Wabash, all with outstanding records. So that's going to be a very interesting sectional. And I would have to say tonight's might have been the best game in the state. This game, was a one-possession game for most of the night. The last 11.5 minutes of the opening half was 3 points or less. And then, like I said, that final fourth quarter was just a nail-biter all the way for both sides. And Oak Hill was able to pull it out on their home floor and just get a tremendous win for the Golden Eagles here tonight.
Kevin, do you have any more exciting games coming up this week?
Oh, boy, I've got a plate full of games looking forward to this week. Tomorrow night I'll be over in Gas City as the Mississinawa Indians will look to rebound from a loss they had last weekend at Newcastle. They'll be welcoming in the Southwood Knights, who come in at 5-3. I expect that to be a very close contested game. It really should be. Both teams, average roughly upper 40s, low 50s. I think that'll be a real toss up there. That could go either way.
Have you seen Ravion Fetz yet?
He's the real deal as a freshman. He did a really nice job, I thought, at Newcastle. Was probably the best Indian on the floor that night. So yeah, he is a talent for sure, but they'll have their hands full against Southwood 6'7" Bryce Wilcox. He's a kind of do-it-all for the Knights. He has 19.4 points a game, and he pulls down 9 rebounds a game, and he averages over a block a game. So, it's going to be a really good dogfight tomorrow night, I think, for Mississinawa to come out on top. They're going to have a pair of their seniors really step up and Keontae Woods and Tyvon Jacobs. Those are two of the bigs that Miss Seminole has. They'll have to counter Wilcox down low for the Knights for sure.
What else you got this week, and where can people hear your
Yeah,
broadcast?
on Friday, I actually get to follow the Marion Giants again down to the Indianapolis area. They'll have another stiff challenge in the Carmel Greyhounds. My college roommate is the actual principal, so that'll be nice to catch up with him. Dr. Tim Ferris, at the largest high school in the state of Indiana. So that'll be a special night. And then Saturday,
the best man at my wedding was the assistant athletic director at Carmel.
Oh wow! I'll have to talk to my friend about that. It is a very small world. And then Saturday, I get a doubleheader. I'll be at Madison Grant and Southwood girls during the day, and then at night I'll be back at the Bill Green Athletic Arena as they'll honor one of their state championship teams as they welcome Fort Wayne South to the Bill Green Athletic Arena. So it's going to be an interesting week for the Giants. They've lost a couple in a row, but they've really been going up against the gauntlet. You go to Lawrence North, who's just a tremendous team, best team I've seen so far this year, without a doubt. And then, they get knocked off again by Westfield the next night back at Marion. So Marion's taking their lumpings right now, but it'll only make them better as they get into sectional play, without a doubt. So, this is an important weekend for them once again, and we'll see if they can rebound a little bit from last week's where they faltered both times.
Oh, the exuberance of youth! You and Grant are just everywhere, man, and we love it.
It is. I love it. I had a little bit of a hiatus there towards the end of December. I actually had my full-time job. I had to go away to Texas for a week, so I missed a week of Indiana high school basketball, and there's nothing like getting back into it. New year, new opportunities, and there's just excitement every week. There's boys basketball, girls basketball. There's nothing better than that.
Cass entered the game having won 9 of their last 10. The Kings are 12-3 on the season. Yorktown won its 4th game in a row Tuesday with a 56-42 win over rival Muncie Central. Yorktown is now 10-5, their best 15-game start since 2021. Junior Lily Sylvester led the Tigers with 19 points. Sophomore Olivia Conklin had 14. Freshman Riley Johnson 10. Sophomore Alexis Fields finished with 7. And sophomore Maya Hargraves had 4 points and 8 rebounds in the win. Yorktown faces Shelbyville, which is 8-7, on Saturday afternoon in a Hoosier Heritage contest. I spoke with Yorktown head coach Leigh Ann Barga after the Tigers' 4th straight win. Coach, a big win tonight. Always good to get a win against Muncie Central.
Yeah, it was.
Muncie
They
Central
came
is
out
now
and
7-7. They
were
were led
very
by freshman
aggressive, and
Kamasia
they kind
Hickey
of got us
with
out of what we
17 points.
do. And
Junior Chloe
we
Pugh
were
finished
lucky
with
to get away
9.
with a win,
The
actually.
Bearcats host
What did
11-4
your team
Lafayette
do
Jeff
well,
on Friday in
to
a
get the
North
win?
Central Conference contest.
Well, they hit shots when they needed to. We decided to play defense when we needed to. It was just the worst part about it was we had a lot of turnovers tonight, and they weren't forced. And we got to work on that heading into Saturday. But we did what we needed to get the win.
Who played well, Coach?
A couple people. Lily Sylvester had a good offensive game. I'm trying to think. Claire Hazen, she played well defensively.
Seems like that's a theme.
Yeah, that's Claire. I mean, that's what she does. That's what we always put her on their best offensive player, and she usually does a really good job. She held Sweeterman scoreless in the first half on Saturday, so that's a pretty big accomplishment. But Maya Hargraves had a good game tonight too. She pulled down 8 rebounds for us.
Muncie Central is now 7-7. They were led by freshman Kamasia Hickey, who had 17 points. Junior Chloe Pugh finished with 9. The Bearcats host 11-4 Lafayette Jeff on Friday in a North Central Conference contest. Wapahani rebounded from their most recent loss to Oldenburg Academy to beat Eastbrook 52-36 at Eastbrook. The Raiders led 26-16 at the half, then outscored the Panthers 15-10 in the third quarter to take control. Wapahani is now 14-2 and has won 10 of its last 11 games. Junior Emily Luce led the Raiders with 18 points. Senior Judy Dargo had 12. and senior Bailey Carpenter added 11. Wapahani hosts 4-10 Newcastle on Thursday. Eastbrook is now 5-10. Senior Michaela Fox led the way for the Panthers with 13 points. Senior Mia Bustos scored 12. Senior AJ Brenner added 6. And freshman Kayla Cochran had 5. Eastbrook is at 12-3 Wabash next Wednesday. Mississinawa beat Tipton 41-20. Mississinawa is 6-9 overall, but 5-4 in their last 9 games. They are at 5-10 Manchester on Friday. Tipton is now 2-14 after the loss. They've lost 7 in a row. Sophomore Mackenzie Farinella had 6 points and 11 rebounds. Freshman Shelby Fernung had 5 points and 3 steals. Big game for the Blue Devils on Wednesday. They travel to face 3-12 Madison Grant. Delta beat Blackford 56-14. Delta is now 10-4 and are off to their best 14-game start in 13 years. The Eagles are at 7-9 Lebanon on Saturday. Blackford falls to 2-16, and they go to 15-1 Oak Hill on Saturday afternoon. North Miami beat Hamilton Heights 43-37 for its 4th win in a row. Hamilton Heights hosts 12-6 Westfield on Saturday afternoon. North Miami is now 9-6. Western picked up a big win against University at home, a University team that had beaten the Panthers earlier in the year. Western has won 3 games in a row following a 9-game winning streak and is now 5-11 on the year, and they are at 2-13 Logansport on Friday, so should be able to add to the recent resume. University is 7-8 and has lost 3 of its last 4. The Trailblazers go to 12-1 Sheridan on Wednesday. Daleville earned another impressive win, going on the road and beating 12-3 Southern Wells 46-40 in a game between 2 of the sectional 55 favorites. Daleville has won 3 straight and 6 of its last 7 to improve to 9-5. The Broncos host 3-11 Cowan on Friday in a conference contest. Southern Wells, which is also having one of its best seasons in a long time, got 19 points from Ashley Needler. Indiana Def beat visiting West Dell 46-25. It was close throughout the first half. Then Indiana Def outscored the Warriors 18-4 in the third and pulled away for its 6th win of the season. West Dell is trying to avoid its first winless year since 2013-14, and they face 9-4 Delta in the opening round of the Delaware County Tournament next Tuesday. And Cowan held off Eastern for a 36-34 victory. Winless Eastern took the lead into the 4th quarter. It's at least the 2nd time this season that's happened. The 0-15 Comets were led by senior Kinsey Eagles 10 points, and senior Marley Cone added 8. Freshman Gianna Beachy had 7. Comets have another shot at getting their first win of the season on Wednesday when they host 3-13 Taylor. Cowan is now 3-11. They've won 2 of their last 5 after a 1-8 start. They are at 9-5 Daleville on Friday. The Central Indiana Sports Report Girls Basketball Player of the Night, I don't know how many times this year, maybe double digits, is Alexandria senior Jacqueline Hosier, who had 36 points, 8 assists, and 5 steals in the Tigers' 72-38 win at Anderson. And now you know everything that we know about Central Indiana girls basketball. Please stay tuned for Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader as we make our picks for Wednesday's games.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Michelle is trying to make a comeback in our girls basketball picks. She outscored me 11-4 on Tuesday night. Let me go through these real fast. Michelle, I picked Frankton by 21 over Anderson Prep. Michelle said it would be more. It was 41. I said Elwood by 21 over Liberty Christian. Michelle said more. It was 25. I said Alexandria by 21 over Anderson. It was more. It was 34. And I said 21. Pendleton Heights by 21 over LaPel. Michelle said it would be less. It was 20. So many close ones tonight, in fact. I picked Mississinawa by 20 over Tipton. Michelle said it would be more. It was 21. I said Wapahani would beat Eastbrook by 24. Michelle said it would be more. I get the point because it was 16. I predicted Yorktown by 23 over Muncie Central. Michelle said it would be more. I get the point. It was 14. I said North by Miami by 8 over Hamilton Heights. The final score was 6, so Michelle gets the point because she said less. I said University by 9 over Western. Michelle said more, but neither one of us gets a point because Western, we'll both be happy to give up the point, right?
Most definitely.
Nice win for the Panthers. I picked Southern Wells by 6 over Daleville and then talked Michelle into taking Daleville. She did. Daleville won. She gets 5 points. I said Indiana Def by 19 over West Del. It was 21. Michelle said it would be less, so I get the point. I said Cowan would beat Eastern by 9. Michelle said it would be less. The final score was 2. The Comets were so close.
They were.
But
good job, Sarah.
Michelle gets the point. And Delta Blackford, we don't know. And Oak Hill, Lewis Cass, I don't know how I missed it when we did our picks yesterday. So sorry about that. The score now is Greg 42, Michelle 35. And we have 6 games for Wednesday. Are you ready?
I am ready.
7-9, Marion is at 3-11, Southwood. Marion by 14 is my pick.
More.
Northwestern is 6-8, goes to 11-5 Kokomo. My prediction is Kokomo by 20. I'm good at this, aren't I?
You are, because that's probably about right.
That's what I'm going for.
Northwestern's got the Bashir girl. I'll say more. I don't think it's going to be much more, but I'll say more.
12-1 Sheridan is at 7-8 University. Sheridan by 21.
University can be a tricky place to play a little bit just because of their gym. I don't know, Greg, if you've been there.
I have not.
It's
been to a lot of them. I have not been to that one.
It's a smaller gym. I mean, it's regulation, but it's a smaller. Whoops, it's a smaller gym. And what'd you say?
21.
21. University played tonight. I think this is a good test for Sheridan, and I think Jadelin's going to tell her team that. I'll go ahead and say more. I really like what Jadelin has done and what the Blackhawks have done. I like that veteran presence.
3-13 Taylor is at 0-15 Eastern. I say Taylor by 1. Couple of coaches you're familiar with.
Yes, very familiar with, and I think highly of both of them. Of course, Taylor's coach is Tiffany Longworth-Boroff.
Miss Basketball.
No, Abby Conklin.
Oh, because Abby Conklin, Charlestown's own.
Yes.
But a fantastic basketball star.
Yes. And, it's so funny because Tiffany's junior year, after her junior year, the All-Star game between her junior and senior year in Kentucky, I actually took her down because I always went. My Uncle R.C. and his family went, and it was always a nice little family. But I took her down so she could get familiar with the Freedom Hall because that's where it was played back then. And I wanted her to – so she went down there with me for the weekend because I knew she'd been – I thought she'd probably be – I knew it would either be her or Abby that would be Miss Basketball and that she'd be an Indiana All-Star, and I just thought it'd be neat for her to go down there and see that experience. So, and I went to watch her play. Her mother is a former Hobbs, Melanie Hobbs. I graduated high school with her Uncle Tony. Her Uncle Andy was just a couple years behind me, know him very well. So I know the family really well. So that's tough. And then Sarah, like I said, Sarah played for me and everything. That's a tough one. You got
Taylor by 1.
Taylor by 1.
It's the Jelena Harris advantage.
It is, and I'm gonna say I think I'll take Taylor. Part of it is because Eastern made the long road trip to Cowan on Tuesday night, and having done that as way back when as a player, I won't put my playing experience on that because it's been years ago, but I have coached, and doing those back-to-backs and with one's a long road trip, it can be kind of hard.
Yes, it can.
And so I'll pick Taylor, so obviously it's going to be by more than one. So I know you did that, hoping I'd pick Eastern. And Sarah, I love you to death, and if you get your first win, I will more than gladly.
I just think it's a toss-up.
happy.
I think it could go either way, and that's why I said by one.
Yeah, I do too. I think it could go. I do think the key to that is Eastern having made the long road trip Tuesday night.
2-13 Tipton is at 3-12 Madison Grant. I say Madison Grant by 6.
I am actually going to. I'm actually going to go with the Lady Devils on this one.
Your Lady Devils against my Argyles.
Yeah,
5 points on the line. I'm going to have to give a pep talk tomorrow.
I'm giving you. It'll be a high five Wednesday instead of a high five Friday. I'm giving you because I know you tried to bait me into this with the Taylor Eastern game, but I'll take Tipton. Even though they played tonight, Mrs. Sinawal, and lost, I do think they have gotten better. For Tipton, it's can they score, and if they can keep if Madison Grant doesn't get hot from 3-point range, I think this could be a very low scoring, and I do think it's going to be a close game.
Madeline Holloway is in my class this semester, and I'm going to have to tell her to knock down some threes to get me some points here.
And I would say if Madison Grant had, and I do know they have some, but if they had like a dominant post player, I would think Tipton probably couldn't take away. It would be hard to take away the threes because you're wanting to collapse. I'm going to say between Holland Wilson and Chastity Keelish that I think maybe they can be all right to guard inside without help and allowing Tipton.
Grace Wood from Madison Grant's going to be a good one, but you're right. She's a freshman. She's not exactly a banger on the boards yet, so that could be an advantage. But I like Madison Grant's chance.
And I just say Tipton. Tipton's due for a road win. Their problem is they just can't score. They have trouble scoring, and Madison Grant's had the same trouble at times this year. So at some point, Madison Grant did one, and we talk about Madison Grant getting hot from 3-point range. Tipton has got some. I think Berkeley Young's got a very nice 3-point shot. Her self-confidence is so low. She's got to catch ready to shoot, and if they don't go down, she needs to develop that Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, Steph Curry mentality of, hey, I've got my shot form's good. I got a good jump shot. They're eventually going to fall. I just have to keep shooting them with confidence. It's kind of hard sometimes to get a sophomore to really believe that, but she's capable. Mackenzie Farinella is capable of knocking down threes. So is Michaela Shinlob and the freshman Shelby Fernung. So, hey, maybe Tipton will finally get hot. So, but I'll go with the Lady Devils. So, come on, Leela and crew, don't let me down.
By the way, also love the Lady Devils. I'm not saying that I don't. Kennedy Lancaster is one of my favorites. She's been on the podcast several times. She's done an intro for the podcast. I love the Lady Devils too, but I see the Argyles in the hallways and in my classroom every day. That's not why I picked them. I believe that they're going to win this game, and I need 5 points. 6-9 Tri-Central's at 6-9 Peru, and I'm going to say Peru by 17.
All right. I'm not really. The Lady Trojans have got me in a quandary right now. I haven't really seen them live, and won't see them live this week. I take things 1 week at a time. It's what you have to do when you cover for schools and multiple sports. You take them one at a time. So I'm not really sure what's going on with them. I thought they kind of had things kind of figured out a little bit, but they're just not.
It does seem there's been a step backwards.
Yes,
here
sliding,
lately.
and they got players back, but yet it's like they are regressing. And I don't know if the chemistry hasn't or if the young kids.
Well, there's still a month.
Please stay tuned for Rob Hunt of the Herald-Bulletin.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengel.
Sounds like it was a lot of fun tonight at Pendleton.
Man, what a great week anyway. Overall, it's so fun to see all the county kids get out and compete in the basketball tournaments. I mean, a lot of these kids, they know each other outside of school, even if they don't go to the same school. And, I had some, AAU teammates playing against each other tonight, and just a lot of good fun. It's a couple lopsided games. I think we had one game that was super close, and not a ton of surprises. I thought there was one out there at Frankton, but overall it was a pretty exciting night of basketball.
Yeah, I guess the two venues you figure were going to be blowouts. Girls blowing, one, and then boys the other were the Anderson at Alexandria at Anderson,
Mm-hmm.
and Liberty Christian at Elwood. I mean, because those went like you thought. Girls rolled, Elwood girls rolled, Anderson boys, and then the Liberty Christian boys rolled.
Yeah, those were as expected, I think. Not a huge surprise. You thought maybe, Anderson's got the girls have enough maybe speed and athleticism to play with it, but they're just not skilled. I mean, that's some different kind of defensive pressure that Alexandria will put on you, those girls, and I think they're starting to show that really. I think they're starting to show where they've been tested. I mean, they did well down at Richmond. Beat a really good 3A and a solid 4A team. And then they those two games there tonight, they were outmatching Anderson, and then the Anderson boys. I don't think they're going to do that to everybody this week, but they certainly that was a mismatch with Alexandria tonight. And then the Liberty girls, they're really a shorthanded team. They're kind of where Elwood was, right, a couple years ago. With just 5 or 6 kids. So a couple of them are pretty talented, but Elwood flexed their muscle a little bit, show that they're that this great start of theirs is not a fluke. And then the Liberty boys, they've kind of been up and down a little bit at the start of the year, but they play a really tough schedule, and they played well tonight, it sounds like.
Yeah, Breelyn Norris was just in complete control of that game. And at one point, Liberty played with 4 players, and at another point, they played with 1 that was limping around the court. So you talk about shorthanded, they just, they only have 5 players, nothing they can do.
I saw them play earlier this year at APA, which is actually going to be the rematch, right? In the consolation bracket. They had 5 when they showed up, but 2 of them fouled out. They ended up finishing the game with 3.
Wow.
And hung with APA. It was a pretty solid APA girls team at the 1A level. So, Serenity Conyers, really a talented kid. That's a name to file away in your memory banks for future use. When she gets some help there, she's going to be an elite player for the Liberty girls.
Yeah. And then I'll tell you what, Rob, I've seen the Liberty Christian boys. I saw them last year live against Tri-Central in the sectional, and then I didn't see them live, but I watched some of the live stream when they played APA earlier this season, and then again tonight. And I know this is not a really well-skilled Elwood team, although this was the first time all year they've had all their players available, as Schuler was back from his broken hand, and Kim Gallegos is now back with the team. But what impresses me most is that relentless high pressure defense that that Liberty Christian can unleash.
what they do, and it's kind of similar to what the Outlet girls do, right? They're so deep. I mean, Liberty will play 10 guys, and they're all pretty good. So
Yeah.
they can just run all these guys out at you, and eventually, if you only go 6 or 7 deep, you're going to run out of legs. And that's what happened to a couple of Liberty's opponents in the tournament last year. And the Outlet girls do the same thing. Maybe the scoring only comes from 2 or 3 of the kids on the team, but those Liberty guys, they play some defense. They get after it. That's going to be an interesting matchup that second round when they play Frankton. That Brett Brobston coaching that he's really good at, preparing for a team. How, is he going to be able to prepare for that pressure with 1 day's notice? I mean, that's what this weather postponement kind of did. Some teams are going to have some tough matchups with only 1 day with really no practice days to get ready.
Yeah, we talked to Brett earlier, and I actually asked him that question. I said, I'm sure you would enjoy having more than would enjoy having at least 1 day to do a walkthrough and prepare for and a practice to prepare for that pressure. But he said that he and his staff all weekend they watched film and everything to kind of prepare for their scenarios. And I would say, to me, perhaps the more surprising games were actually the ones at Frankton, and not that the Eagles won both, but that the girls dominated APA, because this is not a bad APA girls team, and that. Then the boys won. I thought really that the boys game might be come down to the final possession.
Yeah, that girls game, I think when I alluded to earlier, that was the biggest surprise of the night. I wasn't surprised that Frankton won. That was kind of a game I thought going in could go either way, but that they won it was so one-sided. So that's impressive. I guess, was it Ann Curtis or was it Macy Curtis? I'm drawing a blank. I think it was Ann Curtis. Had a pretty nice, yeah, she had a really nice game to go along with Emma Key. So, and that's a good game for her to have a big game because APA's got some size inside to deal with. So she was able to, good for her she was able to kind of apply herself inside. But yeah, I thought those were maybe 2 of the more even matchups going in. The APA boys, they're still kicking themselves for not finishing the deal against Liberty Christian. And I thought going in that, they got really good guard play. They don't have a whole lot of size, but they got good guard play. They could shoot it. Cameron Anderson's a really nice point guard. Were you guys impressed with him tonight?
No, we were at Elwood.
We were at Elwood.
Oh, my bad.
That's okay. That's okay.
We'll just cut it out.
Okay. And I guess Greg wanted to ask, did we touched on? I mean, I know we touched a little bit on the Anderson Alexandria girls, but yeah,
we talked about the boys. I don't think we did.
Oh, we really didn't talk much about. We didn't talk about the boys so much.
All right, do 5 seconds and then.
Okay. No, we can. Alexandria may not want us to.
Okay.
But yeah, and that wasn't a surprise. Alexandria's a young team. They
hold on. I have an Anderson question, so let me pause 5 seconds. So, Anderson, since that loss to Mount Vernon, seems like they've gone to a different level.
Yeah, they bounced back right away, right? They went out and beat the heck out of Pike, a pretty good Pike team.
Right.
And then they went and win that tournament. I mean, both those games were routes. They not a surprise that they did that to Yorktown too, but they're playing a pretty solid brand of basketball right now. They're maybe as deep as a team as Coach Bowling has had there since he's been there. He's had some kind of top heavy teams with a really good starting 5, but he's running 3 or 4 guys off the bench at you that can come in and score and play well. So is it going to be enough later in the year when they run into maybe a rematch with Mount Vernon or that Greenfield Central team? We'll see, but. If night 1 was any indication, it certainly looks like there's going to be enough for this week.
Yeah. So we've touched on all these others. You tell us about your games tonight with Lapel and Pendleton. We'll start with the girls. Were you surprised at all that that game that the Pendleton Heights kind of dominated the girls game?
No, they're playing pretty well this year. I mean, the record may not indicate it. They play a pretty tough schedule, and LaPel, they have Lanaya. Lanaya's special. She had a big night tonight, 27 points and 11 rebounds, but only one other player had more than one field goal for LaPel, and that's going to be tough for them to advance. That's going to be. I mean, one reason. I mean, Lanaya was a big reason why LaPel had such great success the last 2 years. Another reason was they had a second scorer. They had a Maddie Pointer last year. Year before that, they had Danae Hazeman that could hit some threes, and they just don't have that consistently yet. They've had some moments. Taylor Moreau's had a really nice game the other night, but I think Layla Dawson had 2 field goals. One was a layup, and the other was she kind of chucked a 3-pointer at the horn to beat the buzzer. They've got some things to deal with on offense, and Pendleton Heights defense is pretty good. Olivia Jones is a lockdown defender. Casey Warfel is a lockdown defender. Ada Hupfer, 6'3" in the post, was redirecting LaPel shots. She blocked a couple, changed a bunch, so they're tough to handle for a 2A school like LaPel.
Do you think Pendleton Heights has something for Anderson?
Oh, the boys' side, sure. Now, we were talking about the quick turnaround, and that was Coach Joe Buck's comment. He said he's not sure an extra day would help him anyway, but yeah, he thought it was too quick a turnaround. They played earlier in the year, and it was a competitive game. That was the season opener. Pendleton Heights is playing much better right now than they were early in the year, but I think so does Anderson.
Pendleton's look like a different team. Part of it, I think, is Cooper Sims is taking his scoring to another level, but Sean Singh is just such a heady player.
He is. He had kind of a quiet night tonight. When he's playing well, he played well. He just didn't put up big numbers, but yeah, he's a key man. He's one of the bigger guys, so he does a lot of the rebounding, but he's also a really good passer for a big guy. He runs the floor well. He's really a solid player for them. But Cooper Sims, and it was the Cooper Sims and Evan Mazingo show tonight. Those guys lit it up from 3-point range, especially in the first half. They finished, I think as a team, they were 9 for 20 from 3-point range. So, they can really shoot it. They had a kid come off the bench, Brant Gray, I believe is his name. Didn't take a shot until LaPel made a little bit of a run in the second half, and he hit back-to-back 3-pointers. And Coach Buck said he may be the best shooter on the team. So he did that off the bench. Pendleton Heights, we'll see. They're going to have to play really good basketball. They're going to have to take care of the ball, make shots, and defend well, which I know that sounds cliche and kind of an easy thing to figure out. But, when you're playing against a team like Anderson that is going to have an edge on you size-wise, Damian King is an absolute load for anybody to deal with. That's what Pendleton's going to have to do. I think they certainly can play with him. They've already shown that they can.
Well, tell me a little bit, too, about LaPel. I mean, that has to say something about Coach Cherry and his team in that they just wouldn't go away.
They would not go away, and they got it to they actually got it to 6, but there was only like 20 seconds left in the game. Actually, both teams kind of already started subbing people out, and one of their younger guys came in and hit a couple threes late. I think, they're if you've spent any time around LaPel, that pretty much regardless of sport, they are not quitters. They're going to fight you tooth and nail right down to the wire. And, both games tonight kind of felt like Pendleton Heights was a lot further ahead than they actually showed on the scoreboard. Even the girls' game, LaPel kept getting it down to like 10 or 11. They just couldn't quite get over the hump, get it down to single digits. And the boys, it was kind of the same way. Every time they get it down to 7 or 8, Pendleton would go on an 8-2 run and get it back up to 14 or 15 points. So I never felt like Pendleton was in danger of losing either of those games, but at the same time, LaPel hung around in both.
So tell me, we talked a little bit about the matchup between Anderson and Pendleton as far as the boys.
Mhm.
What kind of matchup? What are the keys, do you think, to the Alexandria versus Pendleton girls game on Thursday night? I know Greg says picked Pendleton Heights to win the tournament, and I said I picked Alexandria. I just think there's something special about Mickey's group this year. And I know they're going to be undersized, but I mean they're just finding way. I mean, I think their performances at Richmond just kind of sold me on that. This is maybe his best group he's had there.
Oh, 100%. I think they're definitely going to be one to watch. I think they're going to struggle with Hupfer. I think Ada Hupfer is she's a difference maker. I think look, Alexander just does not have the post presence to deal with her. That's not to say Alexandria can't keep this thing close. I mean, Jacqueline Hosier can score at will, but Pendleton Knights might have a couple defenders that they could throw at her and make life difficult. She's not going to score an easy 35 points again. She might score 25 or 30, but it's going to be tough. I mean, Pendleton Knights going to try to make that tough, and I think that was kind of the blueprint that Coach Newby and the Bulldogs did with Alexander the last couple of years. They just they kind of try to take everybody else away and then also make life a little hard on Hosier. Just make her earn everything she gets, and then by the fourth quarter maybe she's out of gas. I haven't seen Hosier run out of gas this year. I tell you that. So I think Pendleton Heights is probably the favorite here, but I wouldn't be surprised if Alexander keeps this close.
I mean, I think the key will be obviously, and this is why I think why I like Alec is because I think this year, after the first couple of weeks of the season, the players that other teams leave out, because there's always one when you get a player like Jacqueline, because you're always going to have like a man and a half, defender and
Right.
a half on her. So that means there's one player that person who is being played, whose person is guarding two per se.
Mm-hmm.
That person has to step up and execute. And I think Alec has gotten that this year
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the different players.
Yeah.
Unlike
Right.
Lapel, I think that's the difference right now a lot between Alec and Lapel, as Alec's role players are delivering when they need to, and Lapel's are not necessarily.
Yeah. Alec has that consistent. Lily Harp is pretty consistently going to be around 10 points. She can go. She could hit you for 20, but she's consistently going to be that 10, 13 point range. Riley Kellums has shown that she can score double digits. But yeah, you mentioned maybe a guard shading off, shading Hosier to give help. Can a Kylan McFall hit some threes? Trinity Baker's another one that can shoot the three ball. If they can hit a couple threes and maybe draw some of the tension away, that helps. Pendleton Heights, we look at Pendleton Heights and we think of obviously Casey Warfel and Ada Hupfer. I want to point out Olivia Jones on that team. If she plays for anybody else in this county, she's probably scoring 20 points a game. She's a really good player. And honestly, I was going to think about this on the drive home. I think about Lanaya and Lapel. If Jones was playing at Lapel right now, I would probably pencil Lapel in to be the 2A state champion because she would definitely go over there and score 15 to 20 for Lapel. She's just a really good player. She can shoot the three-pointer. She's good in transition. She's a great defender. She's usually guarding the other team's best player. So I would imagine we're going to see her on Hosier for the most part. As good a defender as Casey Warfel is, they use Jones on the other team's best player. So she was guarding Lanaya Wills a lot tonight, despite kind of a size disadvantage. So the Pendleton could beat you a lot of different ways. Emma Roberts, their point guard, who doesn't score a ton, I think she scored 7 points. She had a big three for them. So they've got a lot of different weapons.
Sorry, what was? I just lost my train of thought.
There's about Jones when you went to.
Oh yeah, Michelle and I debated tonight who had our performance of the week for last week, whether it was Casey Werfel or Olivia Jones.
How about that? Did you see that stat line she had in the one that was
I
11,
did
11, 11?
11, 11, 11. So
I
It's
told
almost,
him to go with Jones because I said triple doubles are hard to get.
yeah,
yes,
yeah. Triple doubles are tough.
and we're releasing that before this. So Olivia Jones is going to be our performance of the week. So
Yeah,
or
I think that's just a crazy stat line. I
is
mean,
by now,
yeah,
and I'm
you see them every now and then, but man, 11s across the board. I mean,
Yes.
man, she's probably too young to go to the casino, but man, get her on a slot machine.
That's what I'm saying. That or play a little craps, right, with Snake Eyes.
Right, right, right.
we do not condone gambling on the Central
No,
Indiana
no, I
Sports
don't
Report.
either. I don't either.
That's I lost my train of thought
Here's the
again.
other thing. I think, along with that Alexandria Pendleton game, I think, and I think we know that we already talked about the championship game on the girls' side that it may show to be a little anticlimactic, but regardless, we've got a couple really interesting semifinals.
Well, yeah, that's what
I think that Frankton Elwood game is fascinating to me.
Yes,
I
I
it
mean,
is.
I do too because you look at it and um when you look at schedule, Frankton has played a little bit tougher schedule,
A lot
mhm.
tougher.
but they've been so up and down. Is the Frankton team, excuse me, that played tonight? Are they going to come back on Thursday night?
Yeah,
Or is it going to be the other team? And really, Elwood has, they're experiencing success, and with 10 wins, every win gives them more confidence.
And
yeah,
Breelyn
absolutely.
Norris looked like a different player tonight. She looked like she was at a different level.
She's getting better every time, isn't she? I mean,
Yeah.
she's got the whole pack. She can handle the ball, she can shoot it, she can get to the basket. Yeah, I just think this is when we think about where these two programs were 3-4 years ago. I mean, Frankton's going to the state finals and Elwood's struggling to win a game. I mean, are they going to have a program? And now here we are, and Elwood's the one with 10 wins, and uh, I don't know if they're a favorite. It's going to be at Frankton, so that's it's a tough place to go and win.
Kudos to
But
Courtney Lickliter, by the way.
what's that?
Kudos to Courtney Lickliter, by the way.
100%, and you could see it even in the winless season that she had that first year. You could see that she was going to get that thing going in the right direction, and really, I applaud the Elwood schools, Ryan Van Scott, for sticking with her when things look rough at times, but they stuck with her, and now they're starting to reap those rewards. So yeah, absolutely couldn't be happier for the Elwood program, but that's going to be a fun doubleheader. I mean, that's going to be those could both be really fun games to watch.
Yeah, they will be. And I I think it's going to be great. That's so one thing about with the girls. I mean, you tournament is that the way it's shaken up now. I kind of feel sorry for Lapel because in some ways because they really should not be tested the next two
Yeah.
No,
games.
no, they've already shown they beat Anderson pretty handily earlier in the year too.
So I mean, you just I so now, and I don't know what their schedule. I haven't really looked at Lapel's schedule, so I don't know what it's like after the Madison County
Sheridan
tournament.
coming up real soon.
Oh, that's right. They do have Sheridan coming up real soon. That should be a great
Yep.
game. I mean, Jalen's got Sheridan is just they're they're a team. They play team ball. Sheridan makes me think of Frankton. When it was Sperry. When they didn't have the
Mhm.
heart. They had the like maybe the one high score with Gardner, but that they had like seven deep of kids that have played together
Yeah,
forever, and that's what Sheridan has. And
and Kenzie Garner is a special girl, and that's going to be an interesting sectional matchup too. That's probably how that sectional shapes up. It'll be interesting to see what that draw looks like with Lapel and Sheridan facing off there. And Lapel also will play Pendleton Heights in the regular season game. They usually play that one pretty soon after County, so I'm thinking their schedule's has not been an easy one. I mean, they do
no, it
play
hasn't.
they play up in class. They play they added Winchester a couple years ago. They hard to tell then that Winchester wasn't going to be the same program now that they were a few years ago, but their schedule's fairly tough. That'll be interesting sectional to watch because that's at Sheridan too, if I'm not mistaken.
Um,
It is.
yeah. So it's it's going to it is going to be an interesting to watch.
Thank you so much to Michelle Garmon for joining me once again on Tuesday evening. She is the best co-host ever. And thank you so much to Rob Hunt of the Herald-Bulletin. He's such a busy guy, but he is so gracious with his time. Same with Grant Schaus. That guy is everywhere. Thank you so much to Grant. He, of course, is of the Action Sports Network, for joining us and talking a little Western and Central Catholic. Thanks also to Coach Brent Brobston, Coach Ryan Van Skyok, and Coach Cam Bennington for joining us. Also to Liberty Christian head coach Norman Anderson. I interviewed him on Tuesday evening, but apparently had an equipment malfunction and didn't get the interview recorded. Sorry to Coach Anderson and to the Lions fans. We'll catch up with him again very soon. And thank you for listening. Please go like, subscribe, or follow us so you don't miss a single segment. And please tell a friend. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.